party in this country, so that their house can be in order and they can have a formidable opposition. Of course, that office had to be ratified when the NEC meets and all of that. So for me, it's a welcome development because there shouldn't be a vacuum, especially at that level. So we expect that he's going to bring something new to the table as Vice Chairman South and all of that. So it's not going to be easy for him because the party at this moment is in tribunal and trying to see how they can regain their stolen mandate, in quotes, as they have said. And so let them work towards that and see what justice, what the tribunal can give.
Now, how popular is Owokonika? And I'm asking that because if you look at the Lagos State PDP during the elections, if you look at them before the elections, if you look at Lagos State PDP after the elections, you will be wondering, where are all of these men, the Owokonika and others, when the PDP, Jan Dofor and Funke, for instance, needed them the most? We never heard anything from them. When their people were being oppressed and all of that, you never saw that strength. So how popular is he? If you look at where the PDP is right now, and if we're talking about a rerun, how relevant are their position in the Southwest to actually see that they deliver their party and consolidate the PDP where it should be?
One thing about politics is that politicians are moved by their interest. They are moved by their interest. And if he wasn't a strong politician, he would be given this office, But to say that he wasn't popular, I'm not sure is correct. He was, or he is. If you occupy such a position, and now he has been given a newer and higher office, So for that to have happened, it means that he's one of the major stakeholders. But to say that they were not there when they were needed, perhaps their interest was not there, and that was why they didn't show interest. Of course, anywhere their interest is where they will go, and that's where they will fight it out.
Yeah, because if you look at during the elections, he was at the point he was the secretary for the Southwest PDP.
Yeah.
Now, the Jando at some point were looking like he was on his own.
Yeah.
Like there was really nobody there the way you expect party stakeholders to surround someone and ensure that they deliver where and when necessary. Now, if we're also looking at it from the angle of what the party should be in Nigeria today, if you look at the division and all of that, if we couldn't feel the PDP the way we ought to feel them as a party within the Southwest, and especially in Lagos State, which is like the key state in the Southwest, how much role do you think he's coming up with the present acting national chairman, for instance, how much role do you think is coming will do play in the ensuring that PDP is united, looking at the issue, the tug of G5 still hanging on the neck of the party right now?
Well, for me, like I said, there's a lot for him to do. Trying to bring everybody together in the party and whittling down the powers of the G5 so that the party can be positioned. And so all of that is what they need to do. Of course, I heard recently that there was a meeting organized at the instance of Atiku where all the major stakeholders, were invited in Abuja and all of that to see how they can whittle down the powers of the G5 so they can position the party, for other engagements. I think for him to come on board at this point, they must forgive each other. They must look at the new direction and begin to move forward. If they look back at what had happened, it will affect the performance of the party, the unity of the party. But that they need to forgive whatever and whoever have acted in such a way that they made sure the party failed in national elections and state elections. So let them come together and move forward, forgetting or forgiving anyone who had done anything wrong. And I'm also happy that up to now they've not suspended any of the G5 governors, because if they had done that, that would have caused so much harm to the party. For them not to have done that, I think there's wisdom in that. So it means that the room is open for dialogue and for everyone to come back together to see what they can do to move the party forward. I think that should be the way the line that they should toe, and see how they can reposition the party for any other elections that will be coming. Of course, there will be 3 states election that will be coming up very soon. You know, Bayelsa, and 2 other, Kogi and Edo State. And so they still have
Imo.
And Imo,
Bayelsa,
yeah.
Imo, and Kogi State.
Yeah. So they need to reposition the party to see how they can win those states. So let them work together, forgive whoever have done anything wrong that made the party to lose and all of that, so that they can move forward.
All right. There's another issue that the PDP, Southwest PDP, raised in this communique, which is the fact that Nigerians are suffering under directionless federal government led by the All Progressive Congress, because they didn't have a plan for the subsidy removal, and afterwards they still don't have any workable plan. Now, can we really say that the PDP is wrong in blasting the federal government on this particular issue?
No, it's obvious that the party, the government led by APC, never prepared anything, never put anything on ground before removing the subsidy. Like the new president said that it was not in the budget, in the document that was handed over to him by the previous administration. And he blew it out on the day of his inauguration, which was not the right place to would have done that. He would have, come back, look at that document, and put a lot of things in place before removing the subsidy. That would have been a better approach to handling this problem. And that is why everybody's crying. Everybody's saying, no, you can't remove fuel subsidy without putting anything in place. Are the refineries, are they going to work? When are they going to work? And all of that. Because if we can refine locally, we won't have all this problem.
Yeah.
Because I feel so sad that as a country, which is the 6th producer of petroleum, of crude oil, is exporting the raw material and importing, the finished product at this level that we are as a nation. It's an aberration. It's something is fundamentally very wrong. So the new government would have waited, ensure that a lot of measures have been put in place for removing the fuel subsidy. It was done in a hurry. It was done, I believe, to also appeal to massage the egos of certain powers outside this country who feel that like World Bank have said that they must remove fuel subsidy. And the same World Bank is saying that Nigerians are very, very hungry, and that something has to be done about it. So they are always giving us wrong signals, to say the least, prophets of doom at every point in time. It was as if that if fuel subsidy was not removed, the way World Bank was sounding about is that Nigerian economy is going to collapse. Now that the fuel subsidy has been removed, they are not saying Nigerians are very, very hungry, and the prices of goods and all of that is very, very high and all of that, and something has to be done. Why come that before they were talking about removal subsidy, they didn't advise what and what should be put in place? They are good and very quick to mention certain negative what should be done before this will be done. No, this is just the way of these international agencies that I don't fancy.
So, but
if you are giving the people a suggestion, you must also tell them this action you're going to take. Let this be on ground. Let's be young so that you not affect the livelihood of the people. But of course, these are capitalist tendencies and capitalist approach to issues and all of that.
And if Nigeria doesn't remain poor, remain beggarly, remain cap in hand, depending on the international community, what would be the essence of some of these institutions?
Yeah, that is the reason. So they would have come up with, okay, before you remove fuel subsidy, put this in place, put this in place, put it so that the people will not, the economy can be managed, people will not be hungry and all of that. So, but they just say remove fuel subsidy. If you don't remove it, Nigerian economy is going to crash. It's going to crash. It's going to crash. This will happen. This will happen. The GDP is down and all of that. But now that it has been removed, where are we? There was nothing in place.
We are going to borrow money.
There was nothing in place for the people. And I know that was what the new president just did. Is to massage the egos of these financial institutions and all of that. But we are saying that let things be in place. What the PDP is saying is correct. Everybody is saying it. You are removing fuel subsidy. What did you put in place to cushion the effect of the removal? And up till now, nothing has been done. It means that they were not prepared. They didn't know. They didn't have you know, I don't want to sound very, I don't want to sound very, very bad, but it's obvious that they were not ready for this.
Yeah. I think that much is something that the average Nigerians agree. Now, speaking of not being ready, the issue around if we talk about the politics, the economic situation, and how this is clamping down on Nigerians, couple that with the Niger challenge. Respected Islamic scholar, national leader of the Jama'atu, Izalatu Bidia wa Ikamatu Sosuna, the largest Salafi movement in Nigeria, has arrived in Niger Republic alongside other Nigerian Islamic scholars as part of a diplomatic efforts to restore peace in the West African country. Our correspondent confirmed on Saturday that the delegation of Islamic ulama, following the approval granted to the clerics by President Bola Tinubu to intervene and negotiate with their counterparts in Niger Republic, a source close to the Sheikh had said the team would arrive. President Tinubu on Wednesday met with leaders of various Islamic sects in the country who sought his approval to intervene and negotiate with their counterparts in Niger. The clerics ulamas who are opposed to war with the Nigerian military as threatened by ECOWAS said that apart from the dire consequences of armed conflict, they are enjoined by their religious faith and the Quran to seek mediation first in cases like this before resorting to war. Sheikh Lau of Izala Group and Sheikh Abdul Rahman Ahmad of Ansar Uddin, flanked by leaders of other sects, addressed journalists after meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, we are told that as we speak after the meeting, they're already in Niger Republic. Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi II was there also because we learned he leads one of the biggest sects in the biggest parts of the country in Niger. Now we have these Islamic leaders also standing up to say, hold on, let's go and do something. That is on the heels of the president and the ECOWAS coming out to say we are having a military force on standby and all of that. So we are asking, is Niger at war? The answer is no. Why are you sending military force? They are not killing anybody. They are not asking you for rescue. Nothing is really going on other than the president was the democratic elected president and his family and maybe some of his cabinet members have been held hostage by the junta, which is what is expected. So why a lot of people are calling for negotiation, the president and the ECOWAS are saying they're having the military on force on standby. Now this team of clerics, ulamas are saying you need to hold on. Do you think anything is going to come out of their own negotiation?
Well, for me, I have three issues with this problem in Niger. But why is it painted as if Nigeria is going to be at war with Nigeria? This is a regional issue by ECOWAS.
Yeah.
How come it is like Nigeria versus Niger? Why is it painted in such a way? I don't get it. This is ECOWAS issue. And ECOWAS is not only Nigeria. So what is interest? Why these clerics are taking it as if it's personal? It's a Nigerian personal problem. No. It's ECOWAS problem, for which AU has also given approval, for which United Nations and other international agencies have also given approval that there must be restoration of democratic order in Niger. Perhaps why ECOWAS has woken up now is a wave. Burkina Faso, Mali, and now Niger. That if nothing is done, it may come like the Arab Spring to affect other West African or ECOWAS countries. And that is why they're taking this step. Because if when it happened once, and now happened second, they intervened and see how they can restore democratic order, I think this would have sounded a note of warning to those who want to also carry a coup. But now that they're woken up, this is a sub-regional issue. Nigeria should not behave and take it as though it is a problem between Nigeria and Niger.
But
that approach is what I don't fancy. But now that they are doing that, of course, before now, the president, the Sultan and Abu Salami had gone to talk with the Nigerian, new leaders, and they were treated with disdain. They were not accorded, the respect of such envoy being sent to them by the chairman of ECOWAS, being the president of Nigeria. And they were just kept at the airport, and that was how they met them. They met them at the airport, discussed with them, and they came back. And they were met with, those who met them were low, officers, not even high-ranking. And so that is a slap to Nigeria. They are not looking at that. And now these clerics are taking it as a religious problem, as a religious issue.
Now, the reason they may be taking it as a regional or religious issue could be that there are 6 states around the northern part of Nigeria that are directly linked to Niger. Now, when we say linked, it's not like there's a big Berlin Wall separating them. Rather, this is like a normal street pass that anyone can walk in and walk out of. And they actually do daily businesses together. We've learned that from Sheikh El-Zakzaki, that they actually, like some of the states you have in Nigeria, they also have the same states in Niger with the same name. So there's that intercultural exchange that goes on. They are like Nigerians, as a matter of fact. Now, maybe that's why they are taking it personal. Maybe that's why they are thinking that, okay, if we go for it, that this would come out. But even they are going right now, do you think they are going to talk to Chiani and his team to release Bazoum? What are the expectations from this mediation?
Well, I believe that as people of the same faith, that he will listen. Okay. I've heard that he has constituted a transition committee or government, headed by civilians and all of that. So we want to see a timetable drawn on when he's going to hand over, power to the civilians. But what happens to the mandate given to the already deposed president? If they are going to set up,
they have already annulled the constitution existing.
That is that is rubbish. It cannot hold. You don't have such constitutional powers to do so. Military is not.
That's why they are military. They don't.
That's what we are saying.
They don't have respect for your constitution.
That is it. So that is wrong. A country is led by the constitution of the country.
But you see, Nigeria right now,
yes,
the constitution we're using right now, we're so learned that it was the military who brought about this constitution.
But a lot of modifications have been done by civilians.
Over time.
Yes, over time. That has been done.
Okay.
But
so how bad can it be? Because remember that Bazoum was accused of all kinds of corruption. And even when these people take over, the people rejoice. They were happy that the military has taken over.
Yeah.
So what if they do something better than what they had? If this is if everyone's reason for fighting for democracy to return to Niger is about the interests of the people, seeing that the people of Niger get better governance and all of that, what would be wrong if everyone comes on board to say, let's get this done? But the military is insisting we are Nigerians are going to supervise it, or not going to treat to any civilian government to think they can come in and do whatever they want and get away with it. Because if you look around Africa, using Nigeria in particular, that seems to be the order of the day. That's
correct. That's why I told you I had 3 positions on the matter in Niger. You agree with me that what is happening in Niger and some other French colonized countries is neo-colonialism.
Yeah.
And this is an advancement of colonialism in a new way, in a new form. The economies of this country are tied to France. In fact, we are heard that they control their central banks, and that's where they keep their foreign exchange and foreign reserves is kept with France. And if you want to have access to it, you take it as a loan and all of that. Well, I've heard a lot of things.
Okay. Now, sorry. There are some times we like to act like we're ignorant of some of these things. Several international speakers, locally, within Africa and beyond, have questioned why France still controls their finances. Now, guess what? What if this was a plot between Bazoum and Chiani the military. Let's get our team. Let's get our country back. Would you be surprised if you see this on the drawing table to say France hands off?
Good. That's where I'm going. That is where I'm going to.
Okay.
I want a situation where France will hands off the economic ties.
Yes, because you were talking about their constitution.
Yeah.
Could it be that this is the reason why they're also calling for a fresh...
If that is the reason, fine and good.
Yeah, because until we hear their reason, this threat of war, we may not really know what is going to come
that's
out
very
of
correct.
it.
So let the new government of Niger put this to us. Let everybody know what they are in for. But they have not come out to say this.
Well, because ECOWAS has been threatening them with fire.
No, if ECOWAS need to threaten, because we don't know what you are bringing to the table. What is new? Okay. What are you bringing to the table?
Can I ask you a question now?
Yes.
There's a story we're going to discuss later about military plots and all of that. So if Nigerian military decides to say, look at what is going on with the Nigerian election in 2023 and what has been going on in this country over time, and say this 1999 constitution has to go without telling us, when they take over, if they forcefully plan a coup and take over, are you going to say that? Are they going to tell us immediately why they did that?
But of course, if you want some forms of legitimacy, if you want support by the people, you must tell them what you are bringing to the table.
But their people seem to be in their support. The Nigerians seem to be in support.
Yes, but not everybody.
Yeah,
and
that's
that is
correct,
not
there's
not
a rebel force that is fighting them.
Not everybody.
Yes.
Not everybody. So you must tell us what they are bringing to the table. I have done this because this is what I am bringing. This is what was done. This is what we want to change. You must bring it to the table. If you have brought it to the table, ECOWAS will consider all of that. There are human beings there, and every one of us will look at what they are saying. And
do you think the ECOWAS, as it is presently constituted, have the balls to actually demand for Western countries to hands off Africa?
Of course.
You think so?
Yes.
All right.
Of course. That's my problem. We the blacks, we Africans must, reawaken that black consciousness and take back what belongs to us. Yes. And remain independent. Of course, when you travel from here to any of these countries, you are referred to as an immigrant.
Yep.
But when they come here, they are referred to as foreigners. I don't get it. They are expatriates. But when we go there, we are foreigners.
So you think it's within the power within Africa to build Africa? That's
correct. That's what I'm going to. That black consciousness. We must begin to realize it. And because until this coup in Niger, most of us never knew that France is still holding tightly, to their former, colonies. We never knew this. But with this coup, it was obvious that they have so tied the economies of these countries, controlling them remotely, and that they signed a pact before they gave them independence, that their foreign reserve will remain with Central Bank of France, and that if you need any money from that, you must borrow it and pay interest your own money. So how can that continue? So if that is the reason why the Nigerians are saying we want a new order. We want to be in charge.
We want to be independent.
Then there's no problem. But we have not heard from the coup plotters. This is where we're going to. They've not said this is what we want. If they do that, you will see most African countries supporting them.
To support.
Yes.
All right. Let's because the new government that they have formed, of course, at some point we're going to hear them speak. We're going to know what they are saying. Let's hope that
it's taking time. It's taking time.
It's just about a month.
It's too much. It's too much for you to tell the people what you want to do.
How long did it take? We don't know what they want to do. Remember?
There would have been a national broadcast. That broadcast that he did when they took over was the point we would have read out the blueprint of what they want to do.
We're trying to play the devil's advocate here, somebody. If this takeover was ill-intentioned against democracy, do you think that Bazoum will still have the guts to be tweeting and doing some of the things he's been doing? they have not killed anybody, remember?
Yes.
Nobody has been harmed or so, okay, somebody was denied of ABCD.
Anything.
There's been no story of that.
Yeah.
So do you think we should now begin to look at this from the sideline of this or something ominous? These guys may be up to something. Can we try to begin to look at it from that angle? And then hopefully maybe the Muslim community can come up with something.
That is what...
Because again, what did Sanusi come up with after meeting with Chani?
Yes. That is what we are saying. Let it be put open.
Okay.
Let nothing be shrouded in secrecy. Because the more you keep certain things secret, the more you be a suspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whatever they say is what it is. But if you bring out what it is to the table, people begin to consider the points. And you begin to have many supporters. You want to say, okay, if this is what you want, then let the new order be created. International community will come into it. Everybody will be interested. It's okay, if France, this is what you are doing, restore, give them back what belongs to them, and hands off. That does not mean you cannot, whatever be your economic interest in the country. In fact, that we were told, I don't know if it is true, that France has right of any, like, let me, this is a political, a political concept, or right of first order or something. That means if a contract is given, unless France says we are not interested, you can't give to any other person.
Good. So if you see the irony of this thing you talked about now. A country that's supposedly independent.
Yes.
A country that you have no business controlling what they do and how they do it.
And
in 2023,
it's wrong.
You're still insisting that you want to be in that country, you want to control
if
them.
That is true.
And you want people, if it is true.
If it is true.
Yes, I've listened to several speakers. It's not just France, it's not just Niger, by the way. There are other countries.
The colonies.
This is also part of the reason they had a fight with late Muammar Gaddafi. Now, if all of these are put on ground and you begin to ask yourself, what is the fear in letting Africa be actually independent? A conversation around neo-colonialism has become a norm in today's conversation around the world.
Yeah.
So what is the interest? Russia is on one side now, acting like the big brother to Niger.
Yeah.
What is the interest? Why don't you let Africa be? But again, who is going to answer all of these questions? So speaking of the Salafi group who are in Niger seeking for peace,
we pray. Yes, we pray. They make progress.
Keep
we pray they make
crossed.
progress. But the protest, the CP has said this morning that there was no protest.
Well, the media reports seem to disagree with that, because some protesters who took to the street in Kano State, that's yesterday, to kick against the aiming and the use of force to resolve the Niger coup crisis. While the Economic Community of West African States had directed military forces, like we said earlier on. Well, that's a protest. So the protesters on Saturday embarked on the demonstration to show their displeasure at the planned military invasion of Niger Republic. While moving in the procession, they were chanting, "Nigerians are our brothers. Nigerians are also our family. Niger is ours. We don't want war. War against Niger is injustice, a plot by the Western forces." They displayed Nigerian and Niger's flags alongside placards chanting anti-war catchphrases. Now, this followed an intense call from different quarters, especially northerners, who believe that Nigerians are neighbors with whom they share things in common. Well, if you say there was no protest, the pictures...
the pictures are actually showing.
But from where we are right now, and the signs out there when it comes to conversations around Niger and its impact in Nigeria, particularly because, like we said, there are about 6 states that are intertwined with Niger, and then they have this daily trade and share common boundaries and cultures. If we look at this now and the protest that picked up in Kano State yesterday, if nothing is done by ECOWAS to mitigate this properly, and we have, imagine since Zamfara, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, and all of these states, where if having protests break out in all of these states, do you think that whatever ECOWAS sets out to do is going to be achieved?
Of course, it will. My worry is the way Nigerians handle issues. Like I said earlier on, this problem is not Nigeria versus Niger. In some other countries where there are wars, despite the economic ties, despite the cultural ties. They don't consider that. What they consider is what is happening in Niger. Is it to the best interest of the people? Is it to the best interest of the region? That is that is paramount. Not personal, parochial interest. They must be loyal to their government. What their government is saying is what everybody must abide. Even when you have a brother in another country. Look at what is happening between North and South Korea. So the point is that what is the central government saying? You must abide by, you must be loyal to your ruling government. If you don't want anything with Niger, you cut ties with them. You can't say because they are your brothers or whatever, you have economic ties, you have cultural ties. That is baseless. We must look at it this way. That Nigerians, what are having Nigerians, is not to the best interest of Nigeria. And that anything can happen. We also told during the elections that Nigerians came to Nigeria, they were given, what it takes to vote here, and did all of that.
They have Nigerian passports.
So why would that be? We must protect the interests of this country, not personal interests. Not because certain states are close to Niger, and for that reason we cannot exist as a country, we can't take decisions as a country. That is baseless. It's wrong in the first place for Nigerians to have Nigerian passports as Nigerians, even when they are not, officially recognized as giving, that status.
Yeah, but you see, there are issues here. How do you differentiate the average Fulani who lives in Katsina with average Fulani who lives in Niger? The one who lives in Kano, the one who lives in Zamfara, how do you differentiate them? Because from the images we saw, the boundary between some of these states and the part of the states in Niger there are no boundaries as a matter of fact.
But are we going to consider that if tomorrow there's problem between Nigeria and Nigerians? You mean Nigeria cannot go out to war with Niger because we have boundaries? It doesn't mean anything. What is important is the interest of both countries.
Okay.
The interest of Nigeria is what we're talking about here. If Niger is doing what we don't want, not because we have boundaries. After all, look at what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. They have boundaries. And you don't tell me they don't have some cultural ties and all of that. They don't have brothers in another way and those who are married this way. You don't tell us that. What is paramount here is the interest of Nigeria. Not the interest of people who have brothers in another country or who have relatives in this other country. That's not what we're talking about here. It's the interest of the country. It's the sovereignty of Nigeria. And so that cannot make Nigeria not to go at war with Niger or any other neighboring state.
Okay. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. But there seems to be another angle of this conversation, which is the military high command that says there are plots from different quarters to instigate members of armed forces of Nigeria to overthrow the present democratic administration being led by President Bola Tinubu. It, however, said the attempt will fail, insisting that the military is happy and better under democracy, and as such, it will not get involved in any act to sabotage the hard-earned democracy of Nigeria. The Director of Defense Information to Gusau, a Brigadier General who stated this in an early message sent to newsmen on Saturday morning, described the development as unpatriotic and wicked. Well, Gusau said the military would continue to perform its constitutional duties rather than plotting any coup against the present democratic administration, saying the armed forces of Nigeria would not be distracted. His reaction is coming on the heels, of course, by some Nigerians that the military should step into the country's leadership position owing to the perceived failure of democratic government. But in his message, the senior military officer said the armed forces of Nigeria, under the leadership of General Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff, would not for any reason involve in any form of insubordination. The reports calling on the military to interfere in our democracy is highly unpatriotic, wicked, and an attempt to distract the armed forces of Nigeria from performing its constitutional responsibilities. He also dismissed insinuations in some quarters that the troops of the Nigerian military were not well taken care of, noting that it will not allow any individual or group of individuals to instigate military officers against the present government. Gusau said the defense headquarters frowns at the report being circulated online about welfare issues in the armed forces of Nigeria. We wish to state unequivocally that the military is happy and better under democracy, and we will not get involved in any act to sabotage the hard-earned democracy in our country. So while the leadership of the AFN gives priority to welfare of its personnel, however, Gusau said we detest any attempt by any individual or group to instigate the law-abiding armed forces to embark on the unconstitutional government in our country. Well, what I find interesting here is I took my time to read through this. I was looking for names of those who said military should take over. I don't know if you have come across any. I took my time to look for those who said, wrote the press release or on TV or radio, and I didn't find any. Now, this is where this is very ominous. The military responding to an alleged information that can't readily be identified to say, this is who this person is and all of that. Because I'm yet to see anyone, maybe there are, don't get me wrong, but when responding to it as if it's a major issue that Nigerians are calling for military takeover, I do not think I have heard that. And I do not think this is something we are all familiar with. But let me bring this to you, Prof. Have you come across any call or by a person or group or individuals saying the Nigerian military should take over? If not, where do you think this is coming from? The military responding to supposedly rumor or from source, unexistent source, if you may.
Yeah. For me, like I told you, what is happening in Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso may come as Arab Spring to the ECOWAS sub-region.
Okay.
And they may be responding to such rumors. It's a rumor, but we need the military to make a categorical statement, which they have made, that they are not interested in such. But for me, if anyone had said that, we are not aware. We have not seen anyone who made that pronouncement, or no one who has said, let military intervene. But the feeling among the people is like, you know, if we don't take any action now, the same thing may happen in Nigeria.
That, if you come from that angle,
yes,
that would be fair.
Yes.
Because if the Chief of Defense Staff, Musa, is saying that they are determined to ensure complete subordination of the armed forces, who are you responding to? How can the Chief of Defense Staff be responding to rumors, non-existent people?
That is where I have issues.
Yeah.
I believe that for them to make this statement, they would have known where it is coming from.
Then give us a name.
And they're not giving us any name.
So why are you talking about it in public? They're
not giving us any name up till now. But let's watch things unfold. Let's watch things. There are many things going on the ground which we may not know.
Yeah.
But let's watch things unfold. But this must be coming from somewhere. They must be responding to something which is not made known for now. And they have decided to keep it that way. Perhaps also to ensure that it doesn't generate, and begin to divide the people more. Because if some persons come up with this notion, they will have those who have sympathy with them. Of course, over time, some people begin to align themselves to the ideals and the philosophies coming forward from this other group. But it's better the way it is. We are not divided yet. We are not saying that there's no group that is calling for military intervention and the other one saying no military intervention. We are not there yet. I just thank God that it remains this way.
Yeah.
And the military has said they are not interested in such. And if they say it's unpatriotic, of course, very, very unpatriotic, but let's keep it the way they have kept it.
Yeah.
Lie. That is my submission.
All right. We still have more stories for you on the show this morning. This time, let's talk about the International Youth Day. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has vowed to honor his campaign commitment of generating 1 million new jobs in the digital economy for the upliftment and national economic development. more broadly. The president made the pledge again on Saturday in his message on the occasion of 2023 International Youth Day, while renewing the commitment of his administration to creating meaningful opportunities for Nigerian youth. President Tinubu, who acknowledged the growing interest and impact of many Nigerians to technology-related fields the world over, expressed belief in the principle to whom much is given, much is expected, and remains undeterred in his focus on delivery, while listing job creation, education and skills development, digital innovation, financial technology, and youth participation in governance. The President Tinubu stressed that youth empowerment remained a fundamental pillar of all reform actions being implemented across the sector in order to create an environment where Nigerian youth can thrive and contribute to the growth and development of the nation. President Tinubu said, as agents of change, in a statement by his spokesman Ajurin Gelale, urged the youth to champion national progress, unity, and collective prosperity for all citizens of our beloved country. In tandem with the theme of this year's event, Green Skills for Youth Towards a Sustainable World, the president implored young Nigerians to spearhead efforts aimed at achieving the highest quality of sustainable development, which will shape the future of our planet in conformity with his agenda of expanding green job opportunities and advocating for renewable energy solutions as an integral part of Nigeria's current and future energy mix. He said on this International Youth Day celebration, he has assured the younger generation that his administration will consistently engage with and listen to them with a view to implementing their important and forward-looking feedback. All right. When you say youth should aim at, when you say youth should, ensure to, what is on ground? These are a crop of individuals, millions of them, whose lecturers and teachers had to go on a strike, demanding for you to provide proper welfare, proper infrastructure development within the school premises. Now, it's 2023 World Youth Day, 12th August every year. It's the theme for this year talked about green skills, enhancing green skills. President Tinubu is talking about 1 million jobs within the technological sector. The question we are asking, the person who wrote this speech, did they realize what the International Youth Day theme for last year was? You mentioned it, but it doesn't seem like it came across in all the jumble we have to go through in the name of, because I would expect that Ajurin Galali, for instance, to look at this story before you're coming out with it to say, what are the green skills? What are the sectors that the president is going to do A, B, C, D? Oh, in the aspect of chemistry or sciences, you understand, this is what is expected. The aspect of agriculture and what have you, and environmental management and all of that. Now, okay, so that as youths, when they listen to the president, they begin to channel their energy towards developing skills. So when you say aim, ensure, and you're not telling them what you have on the ground, how do we relate this as per the president's speech for the International Youth Day yesterday?
Yeah, thank you very much. For me, this current government has not given us a blueprint, a direction, which they are going to tow for everybody to begin to direct their energies. This is just one of the sweet talks by political appointees. And if you observe, it was just appointed a few weeks ago. What blueprint is this government bringing to the table? It's just one of those sweet talks as a spokesman, trying to massage the ego of the presidency or the president, coming up with such bogus, presentation. For me, it's bogus. What have you put on the table? How will youths thrive in the skills they have when we don't have 24 hours power supply? The infrastructures are not there. The school system, universities, those that will teach these students, these are not well taken care of. I laugh, at comments of this nature, because for me, it's a bogus statement that takes us to nowhere. Go to the universities. Are the lecturers taken good care of? No. Of course, interested to know that they make the lecturers go on strike. And when the lecturers go on strike, you say, for going on strike, we will not pay you. But you made them to go on strike. We're asking you, put these things in place for us to teach the youths to be better equipped. It's the university system that equips the youths.
Of course.
And if we don't get it right at the tertiary institution or the secondary level, we're not going to get anything right. We have the polytechnics, we have the colleges of education, we have the universities, and all of that. If these institutions are not well placed, forget it. The energies of the youth will be misdirected. And that is what ASU has been fighting all these years. ASU now is now a household name. It will interest you to know that the 9-month strike of last year, nothing came out of it. Everybody who went on strike for 9 months, and up till now, we cannot say this was the advancement or the progress that that strike brought to the table. Everything is still the way it is. And if this year ASUS begin to warm up for another strike, people begin to talk about it. The youth we have here are living the JAPA concept. Why they are living is because there's nothing on ground. We want to hear from this current administration what they are putting on ground. They are going to create 1 million jobs. We have heard that severally. Buhari told us 1 million jobs. Where is it? So they need to bring something to the table. We must see a blueprint. We must say this is what we are put on ground. This is what we are put there. But again, that will activate these skills.
Prof, isn't it such an irony that we just had a Buhari of 8 years? Nigerians groaned and complained. You keep saying something, we don't see anything. Isn't it maybe somewhat of an embarrassment? If you look at the person of Tinubu, this is a man that's been highly rated when it comes to being a politician and knowing what to do, having the right, a technocrat and what have you. How come almost 3 months, 90 days into his administration, there is still no clear path direction on what you could say, okay, this is where this government is going?
Yeah, I think maybe he's waiting for the Constitution of Federal Executive Council.
Okay.
Perhaps the ministers will drive these blueprints.
Okay, so while waiting for the ministers, you don't think that the Ajurin Gelali, the Dele Alake, and some of them, you don't think that they should already know what the president is about, what his administration is about? Well, the offices occupy, they should be able to know. Because you're representing that. Yeah, they should be able to know. That the president for me, it's not what is on table. It's not the correct thing. They speak from what they know, from residual knowledge. I'm not sure they have had any statement of commitment or blueprint, or the president has shared his blueprint with them. They just appointed him the other day. How come he's speaking this way? Has he been able to see any blueprint or the current administration to be to speak in the direction he's going? And you know what is even more critical? The president is talking about highlighting his commitment. He was talking about active listening and engagement, enactment of Student Loan Act and all of that. The good question is this. This is your very first International Youth Day as the president of Nigeria. Yeah. And what we have is a press briefing. You want to tell the youth, you want to carry them along. One would think, okay, even if it's 1 hour to have a light broadcast, a presidential chat, or something that gives relevance to youth-centered conversation. No, this is what we are getting from the president. He sent his spokesman
to speak. Well, for me, I don't want to be quick to judge him. Perhaps let the Federal Executive Council be constituted. Okay. I believe at that point he can hit the ground running. I believe so, because we feel that he's a technocrat. We feel he has what it takes to drive this country to where we want it to go to. We thought that by Wednesday, last week, the Federal Council would have been constituted. In fact, there was that rumor all over the place, but it didn't happen. But we want him to hit the ground running immediately. Let this Executive Council be constituted perhaps this new week. And so that, because Nigerians are waiting patiently, and of course, Nigerians are very patient people. Nigerians have been waiting patiently. Let's see the policy direction of this country, of this present government. And so, let's have, because they have reorganized the ministries, they have merged some, giving new names to and all of that. So let's let him hit the ground running. Let us know where we're heading to. We are still patient, observing, watching to know what's going to happen. And so, I don't want to conclude yet. But sending his spokesman, to go and address the youths when he's saying that his administration will be a youth-centered administration. We would have wanted a situation where he will speak to the people. He would have been the one speaking, interacting with the youths.
Even if it's just 30 minutes.
Yes, that would have sent a positive, signal to the youths.
Just imagine that President Tinubu maybe is having a live broadcast.
Yes.
Let's just imagine that an international
or media interaction.
Yes,
and people are calling in.
Just imagine that yesterday he's on Twitter Space, for instance. He has accounts on Twitter, and he goes on Twitter Space, and Nigerians from all walks of life joins in. He's on Facebook Live, he's on Instagram Live, and all of that, and everybody is on there. The media are carrying it, and he's having conversation. Messages are coming. Even if it's just 2-3 messages that he's just imagine how beautiful that would have been
good. We would have looked at it that in fact it's a youth-centered administration or government that he has said. But that notwithstanding, nothing has gone wrong yet.
Anyway,
nothing has gone. Anything can happen.
Let's
give him the benefit of the doubt.
Do you think he needs a Federal Executive Council to set up a youth a media chat centered on youth?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
All right.
Not really.
All right. You're almost going to start counting down to 100 days in office.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. But we'll take a short break, everyone. When we come back, there was a drama, maybe a mild drama, but it's really mild because the police ended up vacating occupants of the National Union of Road Transport Workers building and locks the building. Have that conversation and many more after the break. right, welcome back to Atlantic Television Network ATN Sunday. Now, let's move on with the rest of the stories on the show today. The National President of National Union of Road Transport Workers, Tajuddin Ibikunle Barua, has been arrested by officers of the Nigerian Police Force. Correspondent gathered that Barua and 3 other union officials were arrested at the National Union of Road Transport Workers Secretariat Friday evening at about 5 p.m. when armed policemen invaded the premises and asked all the occupants to vacate the building. Now, this development came barely 2 days after the union president had raised the alarm over a leg plot by the persons and groups to stage a protest at the National Secretariat of the Union located in Garki 2 district of Abuja. The deputy president of the union, Issa Ore, who confirmed the development, said no reason was given for the action by the police. Well, the people arrested alongside the union president were General Secretary Anthony Osagwe Chukwudi, National Trustee Olayi Odion, and Principal Assistant Secretary Abdul Rasak Yemi. According to Ore, the arrested union members were being detained at the Wuse Zone 3 Police Division. He said the incident occurred when the union was preparing for the inauguration and swearing in of newly elected members of the National Administrative Council of the union. Ore further explained that the policemen arrived and ordered the staff to vacate and sealed up the premises. He said, we were shocked to see the policemen in their number locking our secretaries without giving any reason. He said today, that's yesterday being Saturday, they were preparing for the inauguration and swearing in of their new members when all of this played out. He said, they said it was an order from above and they have detained our president and other leaders at Wuse Police Station. He said, I've called the FCT Commissioner of Police, but he said he was not in town. All right, FCT Commissioner of Police is not in town. So who ordered the arrest? Why do you think? They said they were having a meeting planning to inaugurate new members.
Yeah.
Why do you think that the Nigerian police always act archaic, take actions that makes them look archaic, and then, all of this goes on over and over again? Why would you, for instance, the law says, to the best of my knowledge, if you're going to arrest anyone, if you're going to do anything, present a warrant. You have to explain to the person why you are calling the person or to follow you. What is this Machiavellian attitude when it comes to detention or arrest? This is in the FCT. If the Commissioner of Police in the FCT is not aware, so who made the order from above? And why do you think we still have some of these things playing out?
Right, thank you. It's quite unfortunate that Nigerian police is still acting archaic. It's one of those tendencies of backwardness. The way Nigerian police acts most times very unprofessional. You can't be, interrupting a union's meeting, and especially a meeting that they're inaugurating new officers, and that will take the responsibility of directing the affairs of that union, for next years to come. And they are doing that. We went and arrested them without giving any reason. I think in 21st century policing, we should be able to have or present warrant of arrest so that people will know why you're arresting them, where you're taking them to court immediately, and all of that. But it's still very archaic, very, very awkward. We shouldn't be hearing this kind of thing in 21st century, 2023, and all of that. It's wrong. And up to now, the people do not know why they were arrested.
Yeah.
How can we continue like this as a country? It's very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. The Nigerian, the way they conduct themselves here, I don't get it. I have a very ugly experience personally. I was invaded by NDLE officers.
Why?
In my house, that I was involved in illicit drug trafficking, only for them to invade my compound and knew that I wasn't the suspect, that it was they missed their target and all of that.
Okay.
After destroying everything.
So what did you do after that?
So yes, I went to them. I asked my lawyer to write to them. In fact, they were begging. They begged me. I reported to the DPO of Choba Police Station. They destroyed my gate, destroyed my house.
They fix it?
They did not fix it.
Good. Now, here is
I'm
what
just using that as an example.
Yeah, of course. Now, here is why this is very critical.
Yes.
The lack of let's talk about the lack of consequence management
yes.
in governance
yes.
or in running the affairs of this country.
Yes.
This is not the first time that invasion had happened in terms of home invasion. We have this for lawyers. We have this EFCC. That used to be their modus operandi.
Yes.
Now we're talking about the National Union of... This is a union.
Yes.
But you just gave your experience
yes.
by the NDLA.
Yes.
If there was outright consequence management, it's not just about arresting these police officers and what have you, but ensuring that the Nigerian police force, for instance, pays for this. If the NDLA was made to pay for what they did to you, if the lawyers I'm
still with them. They're not
good. Now here's what I'm going to. Do you
yes.
think that if this is done and made public and millions, if not more, they make the courts makes them pay so much for illegal invasion, for instance, do you think that would serve as deterrence to this kind of charity?
Of course. That, just like you have said, we must take it to the level where those who perpetrate certain actions pay for their conduct. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, that will actually, become a deterrent to other police formations or paramilitary, in doing this kind of thing. Now, going to arrest these guys, what have they done? What crime?
They did.
What crime did they commit? They are not in any crime scene per se.
Yeah.
That you cannot tie their action to a particular crime. But they are lawfully inaugurating the new members.
Yeah.
Was that act of inaugurating new members, does it contravene
any law?
Any law?
But even if it
did, even if it did, it must bring it to them.
Okay.
They must know it before doing what they are doing. This is very, very wrong. We must, as Nigerians, wake up to stop this action. We must do that.
I honestly hope that people with the will to fight such a
yes, I'm also ready to fight NDLE as I speak to you now. Because I waited for them for over 2 months. Mm-hmm. They've not done anything.
Wow.
They have not done anything. I called their PRO the other day. He used to pick my call.
Wow.
Yes. My wife was hospitalized. My wife fainted.
Wow.
Because several guns were pointed at her.
Wait, for what?
I don't know.
Wow.
They actually accepted that it was the wrong target.
No, hold on. Let's assume it was a right target.
Yes.
Let's assume there are drugs in your house. Let us assume that all of that. What is this, what would I say, draconian approach of having guns pointed at people?
Yes.
And all? What is it?
They came in with machete. They used their clubs. They used so many things. Destroyed my gate. Cut the chain of my gate.
In the first place, are they not supposed to know? Before you access someone's house, you were a senior university lecturer. Yes. Are they not supposed to know that
who is occupant of this building, who owns this house, this building, and do their due diligence? I have been waiting, but I will soon act.
No, I honestly need to. I hope that Solomon Arase, would step into this, because having the Nigerian police behave like people with such recklessness.
No, it's very, very wrong.
You can't.
He's not aware, but that is not a good report. Exactly. It's not a good answer.
Are you not supposed to step in?
No, it's not a good answer to say he was out of town. That is not it.
Wow.
You must tell us you are aware, or it doesn't mean that if you're out of town, you will not know what the police is doing in your state.
And we're talking about National Union of Road Transport Workers.
So for any of those, maybe OC Ops, OC Operation, who may be an Assistant Commissioner of Police, may have given the order, but you must seek permission from the Commissioner of Police, who is the security officer, to do that. So for him to say he's out of town, it's neither here nor there. We cannot take that response from a Commissioner of Police in Nigeria. He is out of town.
You know, sometimes I just wonder and shake my head. Are you really sure we want to build this country? Or we are just working towards ensuring that everything crashes and burn and then...
If we,
Because
we have not done well.
I mean, why would the police still be acting
We have
this
not
way
done
in
well in our
2023?
respective...
They see you on the road.
Yes.
A few days ago, after reading the news, I had the same experience. And now this guy again was flashing torch just by a vehicle, was flashing torch into the vehicle behind. And then he stops us and says, Madam, I want to see your bag. And I'm like, no, you're not going to see my bag. Why would you want to see my bag? You don't have a right to see my bag. And then he's like, I must see your bag. Okay, let me see your warrant.
To see my bag?
The authorization, you have to search my bag.
Yeah.
He kept me there for some time. And when he saw that, in fact, that night I refused to come down from the vehicle. When he saw that I was serious, and then he now asked us to go. And this is what the Commissioner of Police, CP Nwoye, said, that they are no longer there. But every 2 nights you see them on the road, they're either collecting 100 naira or they're harassing
They are doing
people.
that. The city, the CP in this state must also wake up. You see, because they are embarrassing the kids, they are embarrassing everybody. They take your card, they go, use POS and collect money from people. Those things are seen on in this state. Yeah.
Let's hope that the CP can actually get on some of this nights and move. But that is
yes.
if truly
if they see you drive any flashy car, you're a suspect.
Now aware that these people still are still on the line.
Anyone who drive a flashy car is a suspect here. They must stop you. And if you're a younger person, then you are in for big trouble.
Father Lord,
so my son cannot drive my car. That's what it means.
Wow. All right. A singer, Charles Oputa, also known as Charlie Boy, has blamed the mass migration from Nigeria on the country's poor governance. While a correspondent report that Nigeria is currently faced with a brain drain crisis due to the mass migration of young professionals to Europe and North America in search of greener pastures. While tweeting the viral video of young visa applicants thronging the UK visa application centre in Ikeja, Lagos recently, Charlie Boy bemoaned the incessant brain drain from the country. He captioned the video, UK visa application centre, Ikeja, Lagos. Yesterday, he said the best of our young workforce is leaving this refuge camp. How we have allowed the worst of us to lead the best of us. How we have allowed the worst of us to leave the best of us. The best of us is leaving this refuge camp. That sounded like Donald Trump saying Africa is a shithole. Yeah. We came at Donald Trump, we attacked him, but Charlie Boy just told us that the best of young force is leaving this refugee camp. And how we have allowed the worst of us to lead the best of us. A lot of persons might see this and think Charlie Boy, because he supported Peter Obi, he's referring to, is a party politics thing for him. No. But I don't know if you saw that video of the Ikeja visa office. What I find disturbing, I still do, even this very moment, is the fact that President Bola Tinubu, for instance, with all of the challenges Nigeria is faced with, we have never seen mass migration of young people or Nigerians leaving this country as much as we had in the last 8 years. The word Japa became a part of our lingua, brain drain became part of our lingua, and in all of this, you discover that nobody has bothered to actually focus on young people. Yesterday was International Youth Day, like we said earlier. We talked about green skills, enhancing green skills. There is no provision, there is no direction to say this is where we are going and this is where we're not going. If you put all of this together and then let's adjudge Charlie Boy's position, the best of our young workforce is leaving this refugee camp, how we have allowed the worst of us to lead the best of us. Can we really say that Charlie Boy is wrong?
No, Charlie Boy is stating the obvious. We in the classroom have continued to speak. And any fora we have the opportunity to speak, we speak. The Japa concept actually became very prominent during Buhari administration. And still continued till now. Because that administration gave us the worst of it all, which has not changed. In fact, the new administration has even worsened it by removal of subsidy without anything in place. Yeah. And so that the people are living. And of course, our best brains are living. I will not tell you how many professors have left this country. Of course, the statistics of the doctors who have left is there. People are leaving. Why they are leaving is because this place, as Charlie Boy referred to it as a refugee camp. If you're in a refugee camp, things are not provided. Infrastructures are not provided to take care of the needs of the people. It's a makeshift camp. That's what we find Nigeria too, as a makeshift camp where people live. And if Nigeria has been referred to as the giant of Africa, with so much resources, it's not getting it right. Bringing in the pull factor, the things that will pull people from different parts of the world back to Nigeria. If those things are not in place, I don't know where we're going to get them right. We are asking the youths to, what are they going to do here? There's no hope for the future. I've been thinking of the homes for my children. I don't know, I have not seen it. You are going to provide 1 million job. How? Industries are not working, are not performing. As I speak to you now, so many SMEs have gone down. I just come from Abuja. Some persons cannot pay their transport
back
from the neighborhoods where they live to the city center to sustain themselves out of the month, throughout the month with the meager salary they are paid.
Yeah.
Most SMEs have shut down. Most people are out of jobs since the removal of this subsidy. Charlie Boy is saying that the worst of us are leading the best of us. That is very, very correct. We have not given those who have what it takes to take this country to the next level. We will not be able to give them that opportunity to do so. And that is because of our political process. The political parties bring people to us to vote. We don't decide who comes. We don't decide. So whatever the political parties throw up to us is what we take. And even when we take those things, the institutions are not strong enough to protect the will of the people. To say these are the people this is the people or the person that the people want. And that's why we have the issues in the tribunal.
Yeah.
So many contentions and all of that. People are disenchanted, people are not happy, saying that their mandates have been stolen and all of that. If it is a system where things works very well, people will not be talking this way.
Yeah.
It means that the system there's still some dysfunctional aspects of the system, which must function for people to have trust and confidence in the system. But we have a situation where individuals are more powerful than institutions. Otherwise, we don't have this kind of case. We have seen people who do not even have primary, secondary school certificate becoming presidents of this country. In fact, I heard the other day a senator was being interviewed, and he has us 2 credit pass. Yeah. He wants to be a senator, and he was a governor.
It doesn't matter.
He was a governor, and now he's going to be a senator. What can these kind of people offer? So that is why Charlie Boy is saying the worst of us are leading the best of us.
Unfortunately, the fear is palpable.
Very unfortunate.
And then nobody seems to understand that this is a critical sector, that something has to be done.
And you know what? They have so perfected their act not to allow the best of us to emerge. They have so perfected it. When once they see you are one of the best, they will never allow you come close. You are a threat anywhere you are. Why did we get to this point? And that is why when Trump is saying what he said about Africa, thumb up for me, for Trump, for telling us who we are.
When I saw that Charlie Boy's line of they are leaving this refugee camp. Immediately it struck me again. Why exactly did people feel like Trump's statement is out of the ordinary?
No.
For me, it's a wake-up call.
Yes.
If you see a stain on my dress and you say, Vivian, there's a smell on your dress, that is you telling me, go fix it.
Vivian, this is my problem with the black people.
Yeah.
They leave the subject and begin to discuss the person.
But it doesn't change the fact.
It doesn't change the fact. Forget the messenger. Talk about the message, the content. What he's saying, is it correct? How come we have left what the man has said. To work on ourselves to get it right.
And every day we are faced with this reality, and it doesn't seem like anything is going to change.
Everybody knows the truth. Everybody knows our problem. An average African country. We all know it. But how come we cannot solve it? There's a saying that a problem known is half solved. Yeah. But how come we know our problem, we cannot solve it? There is a group of people somewhere who have decided to hold this country to ransom. They continue to perpetuate themselves in power. Their children, their lineage, they must be the one they will hand over to. They will never allow any order from any other class to get in there. If you are not in the political class, there's nothing you can do about it. They decide who they will bring from the other class to the political class. What we have a situation in this country is that those who have economic power want political power.
Yeah.
Well, once they have political power, they have economic power. These are the things in this country. And that's why we can never get it right. We can never get it right. In most other clients, we have the capitalists, the owners of means of production.
Yeah.
Controlling political and economic decisions, and that's why they're making progress.
Yeah.
But here we have what I call comprador bourgeois. Those who are not owners of means of production that claim to be owners of means of production, driving the economy. They're not interested.
And how ridiculous if you.
How can that happen in a country of this nature?
Well,
so what I'm trying to say is that allow those who are called capitalists, those who have tried their hands on certain ventures and are making progress, to drive this country. Of course, if you listen to the speech of P2B before now,
that's actually where I'm going.
Where you will trust you to know that this is a man who have tried his hands in several ventures and is making progress.
Now, he has something to say about the International Youth Day. Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, urges youth to remain steadfast, positive and hopeful for the coming of a new Nigeria that will be anchored on youth development and productivity. Mr. Obi is of the view that the current political confusion and economic challenges in the nation should not discourage youth, but motivate them to remain committed and resolute in the struggle for a new and better country. Obi, in a statement on the International Youth Day celebration via his social media platform yesterday, said, he urged the youth to remain resilient and persevere against every hardship and obstacle on our journey to a new nation. He further maintained that many of the nation's challenges would be overcome if leaders pay attention to youth development and productivity. Peter Obi urged the youth to remain steadfast, positive, and hopeful. All right, let me come back to you, Prof. Two key words from Obi yesterday. He asked the youth to remain steadfast and talked about the need for productivity. Now, if you look at the Obi statement side by side with what the president of Nigeria did through his spokesperson, and now, if you're talking about youth development and you're not paying attention to youth development and productivity, if you're talking about building a nation, and you're not talking about youth development and productivity, what exactly is that nation you're building going to be pegged on?
Well, we are heading to a catastrophic situation, because if the youths of a country does not have a direction, there's no hope for that country. And that is where we are right now. We needed a government that will reverse this trend. That is what we are saying. People have been living for the past 8 years. Our best brains are living. Everybody is going away. Who are the ones that will build this country? Is it the stupid ones who do not have anything to offer? Because these other nations will not bring stupid people into their country. They need the best. They must have something to offer before they allow you come in. That doesn't mean that those who are not here do not have anything to offer anyway. But the point is that if our best are leaving, then we are left with those who are an average, level. And so we were trying to say that let us reverse this trend. I am always worried each time I discuss about the problem of this country. It makes me go emotional most times. Because there's nothing on ground for the youths to advance and get their ass together. How do you talk of productivity? You don't have power supply. You don't have power supply because power drives several things. You wake up in the morning, you buy your fuel, you fuel the car, very exorbitant. If you even have money, some people have parked their cars now. They can't even drive. People are trekking. How do you talk of productivity?
Exactly.
You cannot power your machines for those who are into welding, those who have one or two, activities they carry out. How you talk about productivity? There are people who cannot buy fuel to power their salon. There are people who cannot weld. There is no power supply. SMEs are suffering. So there's nothing like productivity as far as we are concerned. The youth will not be productive if that springboard is not provided by the government. So as he is saying, productivity, we cannot arrive there. It's not there. It's far from us. Right now, we should be talking of made in Nigerian goods. Things that are produced in Nigeria that are exported. Where are we? We have remained mono economy, exporting only crude oil, making so much noise. What, apart from oil, what can we boast of? There's nothing. Industries are being closed down. Job loss is in the increase. And most of these oil-related, companies are capital intensive and not labor intensive. So it will not provide enough jobs for the teeming population. We must go into production if we must get it right.
So again, Peter Obi comes to the rescue. It was International Youth Day, but one person we have a president whose speech, like I said, didn't really give a proper direction. But Peter Obi, in his in-depth analysis of the situation, said youths be encouraged, be hopeful, be motivated, because there is a new nation he believes would come. We don't know how much of that will be a reality. But bottom line is that you cannot be talking about developing a nation without ensuring that there is productivity and inclusiveness. If we are looking at the 1 million jobs that the president promised and the 40.6% of unemployed persons, about 33.3% of that are within the youth sector. If you look at the latest, the recent NBS, National Bureau of Statistics data, we talked about 133 million people in a multi-dimensional poverty. Amongst these are the strong, able-bodied young persons of this country. And now you put that side by side and ask yourself, it was International Youth Day. We just talked about Charlie Boy saying that this is a refuge camp and the Jackpot syndrome with the video of those at Ikeja visa office, UK visa office. So put all of this side by side and ask one question. Yes, Obi is trying to motivate young Nigerians. He's been doing all of that, which is where a lot of them jumped into the fray and followed him up to ensure that, to see that hope could come. If peradventure, at the end of the tribunal process, nothing comes out of this, if peradventure all of this fails, what we saw in that video that Charlie Boy shared, what we are seeing in the number of persons who are living in this country, paint a picture for us. If this hope promise is trying to use to motivate the young persons, didn't come to see the light of day.
Well, it's obvious that we're going to continue to see a lot of people leave in this country. Many people are planned to leave, many people are leaving. Because there's nothing we are looking at. There's no progress in sight. Nigerians know how to sweet talk. And of course, even if P2B becomes the president now, it's going to take a long time for this infrastructure. And he cannot do it even within his 8 years, even if he becomes a president. So there has been this generational rot, the generational decay and negligence. which not just 8 years, he cannot achieve it. He cannot. So people will continue to move. But if right steps are taken, and people begin to see the steps taken, that will give them the confidence that very soon things might change and will improve. And they will begin to have a rethink and begin to walk in that direction. But as we speak right now, there's nothing in place. There's no reversal of what we used to know. It's still the old order of me, myself, and my family, and I.
So now, we talked about neocolonialism in our earlier conversation, the interest of the international community in Africa, and how there's ongoing colonialism, but it's been put as if it has nothing to do with slavery, quote and unquote. So now, the rate at which Canada, UK, and all of these countries are calling for Nigerians, does this scare you?
Of course, it scares me to the extent that they want to continue to remain at the top.
And we'll keep falling for it.
We will keep. That's the problem I have with the blacks, especially Nigerians.
Let's go back a little to Niger again.
Yes.
Why do you think ECOWAS is not demanding? Remember, ECOWAS sent Sultan of Sokoto and the Absalom Abubakar, not ECOWAS themselves going to Niger. These are two different things. These people are not members, they're not leaders, they're not amongst the leaders of ECOWAS. Why do you think President Bola Tinubu, why do you think Torre and all of them who are taking the lead in ECOWAS did not go
by themselves
to see Chiani Abdulrahman, the military leaders themselves? And now they send people whom, like we said, they rebuffed. So the question again is, if this is about building Africa and not allowing Africa to fall into colonial, deeper into because we're already there.
Yes.
Why do you think they're not talking about, let's even go and hear these people out? They are our sons.
Yes.
What happened? Why did you decide to take over? Why do you think that was not the first approach? Immediately you start threatening.
You know, there's a feeling that this wave will affect them. They're acting out of fear.
Oh, okay.
They're acting out of fear.
Should that now be a deterrent to them?
And let me also say, I've said it before now. Why is it being seen as Nigerian and Niger problem?
Exactly.
Sending Sultan of Sokoto as an envoy,
and
sending Absalom is it war between Nigeria and Nigeria?
What is going on?
Are there no other envoys they can send from other West African countries?
Exactly. No. I'm even asking, why didn't ECOWAS, you've been to Nigeria severally for meetings.
Yes.
The military in Niger, they are not coming after you. They only arrested their civilian president, and then because of accusations of major corruption and all of that.
Yeah.
So you, Tinubu himself, you've been to several of these countries. Why don't you go to Niger?
By yourself.
Why, as the chairman, yes, why don't you and Ture and everyone who are stakeholders in the ECOWAS go to Niger?
That I cannot understand.
So the question is, are we watching ourselves being robbed again by our leaders who have failed to understand the times?
But that is very clear because, like you're saying that the ECOWAS is fronting the philosophy and ideology of the West.
But I mean, why is Biden? Why is Biden calling Tinubu and the ECOWAS? Why is France? Why is the UK?
That they should intervene.
Yes.
Yeah,
what exactly? Why are we not talking about
mediation? You know, they use this democracy, to cover up so many things. It's as if without democracy, the people cannot make progress. You know, when they say it's government of the people, by the people, for the people. Is it what it is in our own context? Is it what it is in other ECOWAS countries?
That is a big
because
question.
That is cool in the political arena.
Exactly. Because what you just saw in Niger, how did the people jump into the streets and were just when the military
so they're also cool, political cool.
Yeah.
When you deny the people the opportunity to choose their leaders, it's also a political coup. These ones are using guns to take over power. You are using the institutions, controlling the institutions.
Democracy.
It says democracy. So that's what we're trying to say. And they're trying to say, restore political democratic order. As though they have told us is the best.
So
best.
We are talking of International Youth Day.
Yes.
And Obi is saying inclusive government and productivity.
Yes.
That is what is going to save Africa
Yeah.
or Nigeria
Yeah.
from where we are presently.
Yes.
So you have the military take over. Did they take over Nigeria? It is they took over Niger.
Yeah.
They are Niger military.
Yeah.
They are not the military of other country
Yes.
coming in to take over.
Yeah.
Okay, that's on one side.
Yeah.
If this was about saving the major population of that country that are mainly youths, just like Nigeria, just like most African countries today, ensuring that Africa is built and restored the way it should, what kind of conversation do you think we should be having? Because how exactly are these African leaders, including young people, in their governance? What aspect of young people can you say, okay, this is the country where they are running governance with mainly young persons? Why is it working for youths in any of these African countries, if you may?
Well, for me, there's no hope for the youths. Because look at these African countries. You can't find a youth taking up a stage. They will not be given the opportunity.
The ones that were given opportunity, Madagascar, look at Kenya, William Ruto, and just maybe one or two other countries. How much support did the African Union give to them, or is giving to them?
You know.
So I'm putting all of this to say,
yes.
What are we looking at in Africa? What is it that we are looking at?
You are encouraging the youths
Yes.
to take over the mantle of leadership.
Are we?
We are not. We are not there, and they must work towards this. I feel so sad looking at the ECOWAS. That
Sub-region,
meeting,
yeah.
the sub-region. It's a very old man. How come people retire at 60, 65? But our leaders, those who will rule us, will be 70 to 80. How come they don't retire at that point? Constitutionally, people retire at 65, 70 at most. We are having a situation where those who lead, those who are active, are very old men who do not have much to offer. What decision do you think they will take that will favor the youths? They won't do any. They won't take any of such decisions.
So do you think that ECOWAS or African Union should be wary with what is going on in Niger? Because if Chani and his team succeeds in this, that sends the actual signal that a lot of people may be waiting for, looking back at how the Nigerian army was responding to statements made by unknown individuals.
Yes, not only in Niger. It's what happened in Burkina Faso and Mali.
Mali, Guinea, yeah.
Yes, all of that. So they must be very, very careful.
Okay.
They must tread with caution.
All right. So let's.
ECOWAS must tread with caution. Of course, they are divided already.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mali, and they are going to, Mali and Burkina Faso.
Let me quickly bring that story, because
Okay.
I was looking forward to that story, the impasse that is going on in ECOWAS right now. Yes, let me quickly bring that story and then we'll take it from there, because it's important that we all understand what we are dealing with right now.
Yeah.
If we don't understand it, then it means that we are not actually ready to have the kind of conversation we should be having when it comes to Africa. Because Obi talking about youth inclusiveness, and you just look at Niger, the military is made up of youths. Able-bodied men.
Yes.
Now, yesterday we read in the news that the Economic Committee of West African States Parliament was on Saturday divided over how best to address the political impasse caused by the coup in Niger Republic. Some members advocated actions that would stem military intrusion into governance within the region. Others said dialogue and diplomacy were the best ways to solve the crisis. The positions were taken when the 22 parliamentarians held an extraordinary meeting virtually to discuss the Niger Republic impasse. The members who were against military action put forward the fates that could befall the masses if the country was invaded by forces trying to dislodge the coupists. Ali Njibo from the Niger Republic said already no fewer than 9,000 schools have been shut down in the crisis, adding that the best solution was dialogue and that military action had never been the best option anywhere in the world. Jibo said war will only compound the economic woes the people of the sub-region are already going through. As we speak, he said over 1,000 trucks loaded with goods are stranded at the border. If a coup happened in Nigeria or Cote d'Ivoire tomorrow, where is the ECOWAS going to mobilize troops to fight the Nigerian or Ivorian military? How many are we going to close? We said we must also bear in mind that if we apply the ECOWAS treaty, it should be applicable to all. Say for Awaji, you know, but let's just talk about what Jibo has to say here.
Yeah.
This conversation we don't want to have. So why is he even talking about if coup should break out in Niger or Cote d'Ivoire? Why is it? Because these things are clear that there's a possibility that this would happen. So let's even take a mental picture and assume that, because if you're looking at empowering military leaders, the chief of army staff, the military, the generals, and hoping that you're strong, because you have their commitment. Does President Tinubu, for instance, have the commitment of the junior officers?
Not correct. Not correct. Because the coup are almost organized by junior officers.
Exactly.
Not these generals who are already, you know, at the top of their career, having the best conditions of service and all of that. Those who actually carry the coup are those the downtrodden.
So again, I ask, does the president have control over those junior officers?
Not correct. He doesn't.
Has he even listened to them to know how they feel about? You must have heard rumors of, oh, welfare, what we're talking about.
Yes, the welfare of junior officers and all of that. That is where it starts from. That agitation, that's where it starts from. It's the junior ones that will stage the coup, and the senior ones will run away, or they will arrest them, and so, you know, when some of the coup are very deadly, they target the senior officers and get them out of the way.
Okay, so you know why this is very critical? If you look at all the indices that is playing out right now, why they were doing all of that, they never expected that there will be an impasse.
Yes.
Right now, ECOWAS is divided.
It's divided.
One is saying, no, we don't agree to this. The other one is saying, no, it has to be this. So one is saying there has to be military intrusion. And they are asking, what are you going to achieve? Already about 9,000 schools are not in section as we speak.
Too bad.
Goods are stranded at the border. Nobody is allowed in, nobody is allowed out. So who are you going to fight? Again, I ask, is Niger in a war?
Is it the people or the coupists? So as it is now, there will be hunger in that land.
Of course. So if ECOWAS really wanted to fix the issue in Niger, do you think this impasse right now should actually make them stand up to say, let us actually as ECOWAS go and find out why these guys took over power?
That's what we are saying. You know, they don't want to discuss with coupists because it's unconstitutional.
Are we
you know,
is corruption constitutional? Wait, is corruption constitutional?
I'm telling you, this is their take.
I agree. I understand.
But we must wake up and live above this thing that the West has sold to us.
Okay.
We must live above it. We will not continue to behave like zombies.
Because
now,
okay,
you can't talk with them because
who made
you know,
these laws was made for man, not man for
yes, they can't talk with them because
so
for you to talk with them, you know, they must restore democracy, they must return the president back and all of that.
Because
but they may have cogent reason
exactly
why they did what they did.
Exactly.
So you go hear them out.
But hold on, Prof. Here is what is playing out. Here's what is playing out. You don't want to discuss with them because it's against the rules to discuss with coupists. Yes, because you feel they have some military powers. Jibo at the parliament yesterday was saying, listen, what would you do if Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire should go to war? Should have a military junta take over the country. Why are you going to get the military to fight them?
That's nowhere.
So how reasonable all the things that ECOWAS has been doing, how reasonable has it been?
For me, use of force should be out of it. Military intervention should be out of it. They must discuss with the coupists, because for the coup to take place, there must be cogent reason why it took place.
Yeah.
Know why it took place and begin to address them. Using force is not the best. It won't do any country any good. Even as we speak, Nigeria is a major target because we have decided to play that role. It's now war between Nigeria.
I want to ask you a quick question. A bit of a sensitive question. Do you think with President Tinubu pushing, being used as a front for this Niger military takeover, like as it is, supposedly, do you think that President Tinubu is being set up? Do you think this is putting Nigeria in a more vulnerable state that may force the military to take over?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. Not really. But the point is that You know, we were discussing the other day when he was made the chairman of ECOWAS. Remember we discussed this matter here. And I told you it's too early for him. This is a man that has been fighting with legitimacy issues.
Still fighting.
And he was given, that office to also pilot the affairs of ECOWAS. And now he's acting like a big boss. Of course, I know Nigeria has military might.
Do we?
To carry out this work.
Prof, do we?
We have.
The same military was asking for help to combat internal security last year.
You know, if it is between us and known enemy,
we don't have
we have. But this one, like this other internal enemies, like a guerrilla war, you don't know where they are, who they are. You just see people who attack soft
isn't that kind of
targets and all of that and run away. But if we are fighting a country, you know where they are, you know who they are.
And you think that they cannot convert themselves into the ragtag like what Boko Haram has been doing
we don't pray that happens. But the point is
but they'll have to defend themselves.
We don't pray that. But the point now is, in this case, is that if we know our enemies, we know our targets, we know where they are, we'll do better.
But is the
history has shown that we'll do better.
Is Niger military our enemies? Are they
because
our enemies?
They are. It's ECOWAS enemy, not Nigerian enemy.
How are they ECOWAS
but we must not see them. That's what all of us, we are saying the same thing. We must not see them as our enemies. Perhaps they have done what is right for the Nigerian people. And if the Nigerian supports them, as we have seen, that is good. Let's know what they are bringing to the table. If they are going to bring something better to the table, then we must allow them. We must not be playing the role of advancing the ideology of the West at all times. We must think. Let ECOWAS think inwards. This thing that is happening, is it going to give a lasting solution to the economic quagmire in Niger or these other French, colonies? So if it's going to bring something better, then let's go for it. If we can restore democratic norm, if the ministry has come to say, look, we don't want this Western, French, ties to our economies and all of that. Let our people come back and think what we can do for ourselves. Let's use our money to develop our people and help ourselves. Then good.
All right. Let's hope that the government of the day can begin to listen and actually do the needful. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Professor Vincent Sweley, for being part of ATN Sunday. We're starting the week with you. It just clearly shows what the week is going to look like. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
All right, and that's been our show, everyone. Now, if you missed any part of the conversation while watching on the StarTimes DTH 194, all you need to do is go out to our Facebook and YouTube page. The show was streamed live, and you can get all the juicy details as we look forward to hearing from you. You can also follow us on other platforms to watch us live. For our app is ATN Live. You can also watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. You can also watch us live on Facebook Atlantic and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network. You can also follow us on other parts of the social media platforms on Twitter, or X. We're Atlantic TV Net. On Instagram and TikTok, we're Atlantic TV Network 1. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Bye.